The part 2, including a malignant product gland lesion. So just a quick review of product space, post-thyroid, parapharyngeal space. So the product gland or product space is behind the mandible, but then very closely associated with product space, which including internal carotid artery and internal jugular vein, as well as cranial nerve 9, 10, 11, as well as parapharyngeal space, which is predominantly fat, including some minor salivary gland, lymphoid tissue, and nerve and vessel. Product space is immediate posterior to the masticator space, and also including a mandible. And facial nerve is running through the product gland, exiting from stylomastoid foramen. And you have a retromandibular vein and also branch of external carotid artery in the product gland. So malignant product gland lesion, again, only 20% of product gland tumor is malignant, but there are several pathologies that you need to keep in mind. One is Mucoepidermoid Carcinoma, which is most common product gland primary malignancy. And this lesion arises from glandular ductal epithelium. And compared to the other product gland benign lesion that I showed in the part 1, it looks more irregular and a little bit more ill-defined. This one is inside a product gland and not violating product gland capsule, but it can be very infiltrated. And also mucoepidermoid carcinoma is often associated with lymph node metastasis. Not many other product gland malignancy has a lymph node metastasis, but mucoepidermoid carcinoma does have a lymph node metastasis. This is another case of a 65-year-old woman with mucoepidermoid carcinoma. Notice the border is not well defined, very infiltrative, aggressive looking, and also violate the product gland capsule, extends outside of product gland. In fact, this involves the entire masticator muscle and also medial pterygoid muscle. Notice the bone margin of this mandible is quite different from the bone margin of the left side, which is normal. There is some bony erosion, and also it does extend to the submandibular space. So it's a very infiltrated mass lesion on this case. From the coronal view, actually, you can see the mass is clearly embedding to the metastatic muscle as well as the medial pterygoid muscle. Notice this normal medial pterygoid muscle on the contralateral side. It does extend to involve the submandibular space, so the submandibular gland is no longer seen on the right side. And the bone seems to be much more thinner or eroded compared to the contralateral side. Notice there is an abnormal cervical lymph node, so this is nodal metastasis from product gland mucoepidermoid carcinoma. The second most common product malignancy is adenoid cystic carcinoma. And notice the mass lesion in the deep lobe of the product gland. It does involve the mandible. Notice this bone destruction of the inner cortex of the ascending rams of the mandible. And then tumor invade directly into the bone. So these are very aggressive imaging feature not seen in a benign salivary gland tumor. When you look carefully, because adenoid cystic is notoriously common to have a perineural spread, and the facial nerve is running through the product parenchyma, you have to follow the facial nerve. And when you look a little higher up, this is internal auditory canal, and you see the distal part of the ISP, there's the enhancement of the canalicular portion of the internal facial nerve, and also labyrinthine segment of the facial nerve, and also genicular ganglion of the facial nerve, all abnormally enhancing. So that finding is indicative of perineural spread of the adenoid cystic carcinoma arising from the product gland. This is unusual pathology, but product gland primary squamous cell carcinoma. This is a T1 weighted axial image, which is really the great way to look at where the lesion is and also how much you're placing a normal fat. Notice this mass lesion is infiltrating to the muscle of the mastication, the muscles involved, and also cutaneous extension with the dermal metastases. And these are very, very aggressive looking appearance. It's almost like it gives a sense of involvement of the temporomandibular joint. And the primary product gland, the squamous cell carcinoma, is very rare. It's reported to be 1% or even less than 1%. But it does happen, and this is really the worst prognosis than head and neck squamous cell carcinoma, and also much worse than parotid gland, other cancers such as mucoepidermoid Adenoid or cystic cancer that I show you. Perineural spread on lymph node metastases are also negative prognostic factor for this case. And you can see the mass lesion is not only this superficial product invading to the masticated muscle, but that's kind of like a arching around the posterior to the retromandibular space. And then this is the indication of tumor spread along the auriculotemporal nerve, which is branch of trigeminal nerve. Notice the same findings, the ill-defined, the mass lesion in a superficial product invading to the masseter muscle, and also extending through the posterior to the mandible. This is the area the auriculotemporal nerve is running, and this is a branch of the trigeminal D3, the third branch of the trigeminal nerve, and it's really conduit between facial nerve and the trigeminal nerve. So this findings indicative of this lesion is involving a nerve, so perineural spread along the auriculotemporal nerve. And coronal images show the multiple lymph node metastasis. So this patient has a squamous cell carcinoma that is really bad prognosis to begin with, plus perineural spread, also lymph node metastasis. Notice the malignant parotid gland tumor tend to be more hypo-intense on T2 weighted images as compared to BMT that I show you, much more T2 bright region. So that indicative of very highly cellular lesion, not the water-rich lesion. That's another thing you should keep in mind. This patient had a squamous cell carcinoma of the skin that metastasized to the intraparotid lymph node. Notice there's an enlargement of the intraparotid lymph node with, again, same findings, a little linear tubular lesion posterior to the mandible, and then this is the spine. When you see something tubular like this and extending from the parotid gland to medial portion, it does indicative of auriculotemporal nerve spread. And a higher up images knowing this abnormally enlarged and also markedly enhancing foramen or valley, also foramen tendon, B2 nerve, and a pretty posterior parotid fossa involvement. So those findings are very essential that the lesion is spreading all to the skull base and the cranial nerve is not good surgical candidate. Lymphoma tend to be quite diffuse findings. So this is a primary lymphoma that has a huge diffuse enlargement of the round lobe, not having aggressive bone destruction despite the size of the tumor, which is also similar to what we see in that lymphoma and elsewhere. Lymphoma can be bilateral, although much more commonly unilateral, and this is a case of bilateral primary lymphoma. When you see the skin lesion deep inside an invaded parotid gland, so this might be a secondary instead of primary parotid gland squamous cell carcinoma. Again, very aggressive characteristics, dermal thickening, and also invasion to the mesenteric muscle. You don't really see the differentiation between tumor border and mesenteric muscle. When you see the large lesion in the skin or involving oral cavity cancer involving the skin, when you see the parotid gland mass lesion, most likely the metastasis to the intraparotid lymph node. So this is a large cancer involving the oral cavity with dermal invasion. Because of the lymphatic drainage from the dermal lesion of the face and scalp goes to parotid gland, intraparotid lymph nodes, this is not a parotid gland primary tumor, but this is intraparotid lymph node metastasis from underlying skin squamous cell carcinoma. Parotid gland could have a site of metastasis from elsewhere, and this is the renal cell carcinoma metastasized to the parotid gland. Notice this ill-defined, aggressive-looking mass lesion in a parotid gland in a patient with renal cell carcinoma, and this is a biopsy-proven metastasis. The other metastases could happen to the parotid gland include melanoma. So you could think of the melanoma if it's a scalp or face, most likely like a lymph node metastasis, but this is melanoma elsewhere, much lower body part, metastasized to the parotid gland. So in summary, parotid space malignant lesion, in terms of primary parotid gland cancer, three big ones is mucoepidermoid carcinoma, adenoid cystic carcinoma, adenocarcinoma, but I show you a rare case of a squamous cell carcinoma that is very bad at prognosis. Metastatic tumor to the node, intraparotid lymph nodes, includes skin squamous cell carcinoma or melanoma in the face or scalp. But you could have a systemic involvement, such as lymphoma or metastasis to the parotid gland, and common primary sites include renal cell carcinoma, lung cancer, breast cancer, and also melanoma. With that, this is the end of the part 2.